I'm Dr. Guillaume Dulude. I'm an author, I'm a TV host, and the founder of Psychom, where I teach applied psychology to thousands of people every year. My work is about one thing, helping people understand themselves better so they can lead, connect, and grow. I hold a PhD in psychology, and I specialize in communication and leadership skills development. I've traveled over 100 countries to study how humans relate and create meaningful lives. I founded the Why event to share the psychological tools needed to face crossroads, make stronger decisions, and move towards a life that is worth fighting for. Hello, everyone. How are you? Very happy to be here with you tonight. I'm Dr. Guillaume Dulude, and we're going to talk about psychology tonight with this live and the next few live that are coming up for the next few weeks. And tonight we will talk about boredom and passion. I know it's new for most of you tonight. Most of you guys don't know me, and it's all fine. We're gonna learn to know each other. So before going straight into the subject of boredom and passion, please allow me to introduce myself and my team. My name is Guillaume Dulude, and I'm 42 years old, and I've been coaching. I've been teaching psychology for the last 20 years or so, a little bit more than 20 years, and since I was very young, I always kind of asked grown-ups, adults, kind of philosophical questions in life. What's the purpose in life? How do you solve complicated human problems? Um, what am I going to do when I'm going to be an adult? I was always preoccupied about what's the point of life, where are we going, and and how does it work on a daily basis? How do you solve problems on a daily basis? And I've always been fascinated by the brain, human behavior, understanding people. And I think also, for those of you who don't know me, I've always been very, I would say, sensitive to human suffering in general. And I like pain and suffering is part of life. It's a normal part of life, but I realize that there's a part of suffering that is not necessary. So there's a difficult part in life. There are different kinds of pain, negative emotions, and yes, you can suffer. But my goal in Psychom is to find ways to solve problems. So at least the unnecessary pain or suffering um, can be avoided, and it's absolutely doable. I started my company Psychom when I was 20 years old, and I started with teaching communication skills because I realized that I was always interested into nonverbal language, behavior, relationships, feelings, long-term relationships, communication effect. Why certain people, when they enter a room, they drag all the attention. What's the phenomenon behind it? Can we control it? If you want to have more friends, if you want to develop an intimate relationship, how do you do that? How do you, when you disagree with someone, how do you do it? How do you talk? What do you talk about? What are subjects we should talk about? How do you manage emotions? These are all daily problems that humans have, and these are, most of them are universal. And I've always been fascinated by humans in general in all cultures. So I've been traveling a lot since I'm 20 years old. I visited maybe 130 countries, and I was always seeking for what are the common factors among human beings, because of course there are differences between individuals, and there are differences between groups and societies, yes, but there are things that we have in common, and we have much more in common than we have differences. And I've always been fascinated by, can we target something that is relevant for everyone. And the fact is that there are a lot of factors that all human beings share, independently of sex, culture, religion. Um, we share most of variables. Now, we also share lots of common problems among human beings. And I've been teaching communication skills the first few years of my career. And after, I wanted to help on other aspects in terms of leadership development, relationship with yourself, solving problems, the notion of potential. Everybody's talking about the potential. What is this? What is potential? How do we move forward? How do you know who you are? How do you know what you're capable of? And and it seems like big theoretical and big philosophical questions, and in part there are, but there are answers to that, and there are definitely knowledge and information that we know now with modern science, with psychology, and we know that certain behaviors, certain habits, certain psychological mechanisms, if they are used well, can change a lot of things. And this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about boredom, and it's a subject that we don't really talk about a lot, and I'm going to try to explain why. And after, we're going to try to move on from boredom to passion. So in order to do that, we need to understand what is boredom, and after, we need to understand what is passion and what are the strings behind that, what are the rules behind that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm very passionate about this job, teaching psychology. I've been doing that for a long time now, and I think I have the same passion for it as 20 years ago. What is fun is to understand things. So my job with Psychom and my job doing these lives is to help you understand what is going on for you. My focus is not to give you a recipe of, to solve this problem, do A, B, C, D. I can give you some tips, some recommendation, but the first thing that we need to do to be able to change things, have a grip in your life, is to see clearly. So, as you will see in this live and all the future lives that that I'm going to do, I'm going to put words on something that you've already felt. That's 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 the feedback I have most of the time. So I'm not gonna make up any kinds of science or new tendencies. I'm I stick to what is solid scientifically. My job is to explain to you some mechanisms, some psychological mechanisms, so you can have fun with it, you can play with it, you can control it. And this is my job, to do this transition, to do this gap. And psychology is kind of a soft science, and why I do these lives. I love doing lives because it's real, it's authentic. I want to talk with people, and there is a relationship involved. Even though we don't see each other, there is still a relationship involved, and this is what drives me. um, I was I was teaching. I'm from Canada, and I was teaching mainly in the French part in Canada, and in France also. But I was always doing it in presence, because I like human touch. I like to see people. I like this human contact. But since COVID, we had to make a move, so we switched online, and this is when I started to do these lives, and I realized that it helped a lot of people. It answered a lot of people, lots of questions, or at least it reduced confusion about certain topics that can hurt yourself on a daily basis. So, and we just started to have fun with it, and me and my team kept doing it. And so tonight we're going to talk about boredom, what it is, and passion. Um, so boredom, what is this? First thing, boredom is not a precise phenomenon that is scientifically, I would say, documented, or it's not, there's not a proper and universal scientific definition of boredom. It doesn't work this way. It's kind of matters to interpretation, but it doesn't mean that it's not important. It is important. So We can normally we can agree that boredom involves kind of a lack of certain type of stimulation, and I will come back to the type of stimulation, okay, because not all stimulations all the same are the same. So there is a lack of stimulation, lack of energy most of the time. Most of the time, boredom doesn't come with goal. It's not someone that is bored is not driven by clear goals most of the time. And what is interesting about boredom is that if you ask someone, or someone that comes to me and wants help for something, this it will be extremely rare, and I cannot even have an example in my mind that someone came to me and say, hey, my problem is that I'm bored, I need help because I'm bored. Boredom, it's just not something that bad, and it's often related to kind of a dull moment. For example, on Wednesday evening, you don't know what to do. Okay, you're bored. But this is not boredom. It's just a moment. The boredom we're talking about is a pattern. It's a pattern where someone drags certain kinds of behavior a long way and don't feel energy for a long time. And the thing with boredom is that people will not point it like this is my problem. We don't really talk about it. Boredom is not a thing right now. But the goal of this life is to tell you that it's a thing. And maybe it's something that will speak to you. So let's define boredom. So, lack of energy, lack of clear goals. And when you're bored, you are more susceptible to be affected by variables in your environment. So a bored person is like going too slow on a bicycle. So it's more difficult to keep the balance, and just a little, a side wind can throw you off. It's a little bit like this with boredom. So with boredom, you feel that you have less energy, but also for some people, you are more susceptible to be affected by other people, by environment, by situations. So it can come with more anxiety. So it's not because you're bored that you don't feel negative emotions. It doesn't mean that. And so when I have like a client, and I'm trying to analyze what's the problem, when I'm asking all kinds of questions, and I have like different kinds of zones that I need to investigate. And so the person will not tell me like I'm bored, that's my problem. So I'm going to say, okay, well, what's your problem? What's making you suffer? Or what's the most difficult thing you're going through? And I'm going to ask other questions. For example, what do you do tomorrow? What's your schedule look like? What are you doing this week? What are you looking forward to? And most of the time, it's not clear. A lot of people are not looking forward for anything, and when they do, unfortunately, they're looking forward to a relief, which is not related to passion. They're looking for a relief of anxiety or negative emotion or pain. But this is not a goal. So, people that are bored, they aim less as to precise things. People that are less bored, they aim at more precise goals. And now it's all a matter of what are you aiming for. Now, depending of what you aim will transform your whole psychology, your whole behavior, your whole attitude, your perception of your life, your perception of yourself, the energy that you have. And this is you can change this. This is flexible, and that's the good thing about learning psychology, is because if this becomes clearer for you, you will know if you're bored or not. And then you can choose to change the patterns or the behavior or the factors that makes you bored, and you can reverse them and change them to create more energy and aim for passion. So we're going to talk about that also. So when I said boredom is related to a lack of stimulation, yes and no. Okay, so first, when we say stimulation, we need to define what we mean by stimulation. Most of the time, stimulation is related to dopamine. So, dopamine is a neurotransmitter related to reinforcement, to rewards, and to positive emotion. Okay, that's fine. We need that. That's fine. But the problem is the dosage. If someone is bored, this person will be more dependent on short term rewards and short term dopamine surge. So the more you're bored, the more your brain get used to seek for short term external rewards. And short term external rewards are not compatible with passion and energy. That's that's one of the most important thing that you need to know. So if a person is more dependent of environment factors, dopamine, reward, and I'm gonna show you what kind of rewards I'm talking about, the more the person will stay in a long time in a state of boredom, and the person most of the time they will not know it, and anxiety will increase over time. There's other kinds of symptoms that are increasing. um, when I'm saying that, I'm reading the chat right now. Do you when you look at yourself, how do you feel? Do you feel that you're bored, or it's not clear for you? For most people, if you ask them, "Are you bored?" they will hesitate, like, "Am I bored? I don't know." It's hard to answer. So I'm curious to hear you guys. Do you feel that you're bored? Is Are you here tonight because it's something conscious, or it's just it's more a subject of interest for you, or you feel that you're bored? So I'm gonna let you write your answers in the chat. But most people are not aware that they're bored, but they come seek for help for other symptoms. For example, um, depression. They feel depressed. They're anxious, socially anxious. They think about the future. They have catastrophic imagination, catastrophic um, projection, and they also feel like they don't have much positive activities in their lives. They don't know also what are their qualities, their strengths. So some people say little bit. Some people say I'm a little bit bored, and that's a challenge to determine if you're bored or not, because boredom, your brain doesn't know if it creates pain. So humans react to pain. You will react to grief, you'll react to depression, you will react to anxiety, all kinds of pain. It's more conscious. Boredom, it's like the underlayer, um, I would say the substrate on which anxiety can take place, can increase, feeling of depression, helplessness increase. But there is definitely some boredom at the base. So let's come back to stimulation. Stimulation that is only related to dopamine will increase your dependence. So if you're seeking for energy, it is not compatible with an overdose of dopamine. So I'm going to just show you a little slide here. Okay, so if you want to understand boredom, if you want to understand passion, one of the most important scientific literature that you need to know is the self determination theory. So the SDT, it's a theory that came out in the years 2000, and it's basically the gold standard in terms of motivation. And motivation means why a person do something, why a person lift a finger, why a person is avoiding something or going for certain types of reward. So this is the motivation literature, which is the self-determination theory. It's very solid scientifically, and it's very reliable. And we're going to explore this graphic together. So first, there are three main components in terms of motivation. There is amotivation, which is basically apathy. It's really related to boredom. Okay, so boredom is is touching a motivation. So the absence of motivation. In the middle, in red, you have extrinsic motivation. Now, this is the more complicated one, but this is the one that we need to talk about more because there are subtypes of extrinsic motivation. So let's go on the left. You have pure external motivation. External motivation is You do something because there will be dopamine related typically to an object, a physical reward. It can be food, it can be money, it can be an opportunity, it can be an exchange of something. So you do something because there will be a reward. So this is called an external reinforcement, an external, pure external motivation, and is pure dopamine. Okay, so dopamine is there. So you have a motivation, nothing happens. You're just absolutely bored. There is nothing moving. After most of people, like you guys, you spend your day, you did something today. So one part of the motivation is external. Okay, so external means dopamine, and external means that the reward is not in yourself. The reward is not in you. The reward is outside of you. And therefore, you don't have a direct control on the reward. Okay, this is very important to understand where is the reward and can we control the reward. So if many of your behaviors are based on external reinforcement or external motivation, you have the tendency to be more dependent from external reinforcement, and the more you're dependent, the more anxious and helpless you will be. Okay, so it's all a matter, psychology, it's a matter of dosage. Okay, so you can have all these subtypes of motivation, but it depends on how much you have in your agenda on a daily basis. So this is external motivation. You have introjected motivation is not something that someone will give you. It's not like money or an object. It's social attention. It's a social reward. For example, people that are looking to have lots of clicks on their pictures, they're seeking for social attention. This is called introjected motivation. So the motivation why someone is doing something is to have a specific attention, a specific social reward. It's also high on dopamine, and it also lowers anxiety in short term because it validates you, but only in short term. So if you reduce anxiety with an external factor, it will have the effect of lowering anxiety on short term. But if you lower anxiety on short term, it will come back stronger just a few moments later. So this is what we call avoidance. So dopamine is not only a substance that create addiction and a short-term reinforcement, it also masks the effect of negative emotions such as anxiety. So that is why external motivation and introjected motivation, you have to keep an eye on it because it's dangerous. You can't have too much of it. It's like candy. It tastes sweet. It's good. It's instant. But it is not like vegetables. If you want like the culinary metaphor, it's not the same at all. It's like, yes, you can drink a glass of wine. A glass of wine is pure extrinsic, and it's a psychotropic effect also. But there is substances and some rewards that creates addiction. So external objects introjected human attention. And now, still within the extrinsic motivation spectrum, there are two that are more positive: the identified and integrated subtype of motivation. Identified is you're doing something because you know in your head that it's a good thing for you. So it's related to your value. It's related to taking care of yourself. It's related to where you want to go. It's related to something positive. But you don't necessarily have fun doing it. Okay, so passion is not necessarily there yet. I'll come back to passion. So when you do something with an identified type of motivation, you're doing it because you know it's good. You don't want to do it, but you're still going to do it because it's for your own development, it's for your own good, even though you're not feeling it. Okay, And after, there is the last subtype of extrinsic motivation, which is integrated. Integrated is not only you know it's good for you, but you have some kind of pleasure doing it. It's kind of fun to do it. It's fun to do. It's rewarding. It can be challenging. You have to push yourself a bit, but integrated means that the behavior and the habit is part of your life, is integrated into your life, into your personality. So it's classified as still extrinsic motivation, but if you want external and introjected on the left, they are the two most dangerous one. Identified and integrated, they're the two best. Some kind of intrinsic motivation, because in identified and in integrated, there are parts of yourself involved, and the reward is inside you. Maybe not totally, because sometimes you do something because it's good, but you know that you need to do it. If you don't do it, there's going to be a negative consequence, and a consequence is basically a factor that comes outside yourself. So there's a part of extrinsic motivation in it. But for example, you do sports, you work out every day. It can start with identified, because you really don't want to and you hate it. But you do it, you get a coach, you start to feel better, you look more in shape, you start to feel good doing their exercise. So you can migrate from identified type of reinforcement, identified motivation, and you migrate towards integrated, which is a more advanced and a better form of motivation. So a task can move depending of the ingredients you put in it and how you develop it into your life. But most people, they go to the gym just because they feel guilty and they want to lose weight, they want to look good. So it's basically external or introjected. That's why nobody um, you know work out for a long time. Everybody stops because it's based on external and introjected behavior and reinforcement. But when it starts to be identified and integrated, it starts to be a part of you. So your identity starts to merge and recognize your activity. This is when the fun starts. This is where passion can start. Its passion is not compatible with external or introjected. Dependence is more compatible with external and introjected. Identified, integrated, it's more related to fun, positive behavior for yourself, and you control the reward. So the reward is less and less outside. It's you're proud to do something because it feels good, because you want to, because it's important for you. So the more you do things on a daily basis that tilt toward identified and integrated, the stronger you're going to be. And not only the stronger you're going to be, you're going to have more fun. You're going to explore better. Your negative emotions will be more under control. Your anxiety will be more under control. So it's really important to understand the subtype of motivation that drives your action. And of course, there's the last one on the right, which is more rare. It's called intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation means that there is absolutely no reward outside yourself. It means that you're fully autonomous. Like you do something, just the fact of doing it is its own reward. When you do something, it feels right. It feels like this is you. It feels like it's just a reflection of your identity. So um, intrinsic motivation is what we aim for. You cannot be intrinsically motivated to everything. It's impossible because we are in a physical world and there is still limited amount of resources, money, energy, time. It's all limited. And because we are in a limited resources world, a physical world, there is also pain. So it's part of the deal to have some external motivation and projecting motivation, because we are social human beings. And yes, we are sensitive when someone is looking at us, and we want to look good because human beings are very, they focus a lot on hierarchy, so social comparisons, which would be another live that we're going to talk about. But it's normal. But it's important for you to understand that passion are not in these kind of subtype of motivation. So when someone, no, I'm sorry, I'm just going to finish with intrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is basically um, the activity is your own reward. Like if you do something that the time flies like this, it's just, it doesn't matter if you perform or you don't, it doesn't matter the result. Doing something is what you like to do. This sounds like intrinsic motivation. Now when you do a complex task, for example, you have a job, you work in one job, you have a tons of subtasks, and these subtasks subdivides themselves also. So in one job, you cannot say like my job is purely external. It's possible, but it's more likely that there are a mix of little different kinds of motivation depending of the task that you're doing in your job or what you have in your agenda. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, like right now, what I'm doing, this slide, you talking about psychology, for me, it's intrinsic. I like it so much. I would do that every day, all day. That's what I've been doing for 20 years. I like it. I like psychology. I like talking about it. I like asking myself questions about psychology. I like solving problems. I like it. It's fun. And I my team is always saying like, okay, like Yom, try to fit your life within an hour. They always tell me that, but it's very hard for me to stop. Like I will try to finish on time, but it's very hard for me because time flies so fast when I'm talking about psychology. It's fun. I like it. This is intrinsic. However, not all of all parts of my job are intrinsic. There's some part that are just like administration, paperwork, this kind of things. I hate it. This is more external. It's like I must do it. If I don't do it, there's going to be huge consequence on me, on my clients, on my team. I don't want that. So basically, I am avoiding a negative consequence by doing this kind of task, which is necessary. So in this specific situation, I'm driven by external motivation, which is avoiding a negative consequence. It's okay, it's normal, and this is the easy part when we're together, guys, talking about psychology. And this is the fun part. So everything is built for this intrinsic motivation. So I'm happy and I'm lucky to do this job because I'm intrinsically motivated. All right. Some of you guys can be intrinsically motivated by your job. Some of you, it's more identified. Some of you, it's more integrated. Some of you, you keep the job because it looks good. So it's more introjected. Some of you, it's purely because you need money, so it's more external. And the goal is tonight is not to judge anything. It's that at least that depending of the subtype of motivation, there are things that will be accessible or not be accessible for you. So now, passion. How does it work? Passion um, is not correlated with dependence. So if you want to have energy and replace boredom, a feeling of amotivation, low energy, you need more identified, integrated, and intrinsic motivation. You're gonna say, okay, how do you do that? That's the tricky point. The tricky part is that you cannot buy it. There are no tricks to just feel intrinsic motivation or identified motivation or integrated motivation. These kind of motivation that are involved with passion need work and need some vulnerability, some sacrifice, some investment. Otherwise, you cannot access that. If you if you want something that feels good fast, automatically you go on the left of the spectrum, which are more external motivation and introjected motivation. So if you want to develop passion, First thing is that you need to look at your agenda, for example. You look at your agenda and you look on a daily basis what you need to do. And look at the type of motivations that are related to what you have to do during one day. When I do this exercise with clients, most of the time I open up their agenda. I look like, okay, what are you doing tomorrow? What are your meetings? What's the to-do list? What do you need to do? What are you doing this week? And you can see like, okay, this is purely external motivation. This is introjected motivation. This is maybe identified motivation. This is external motivation. So it tends to lean on the left side of the spectrum. And the more people have these kind of motivation, they will feel more bored. But when you ask them directly, are you bored? People will say, no, I'm super busy. I have a ton of things to do. Yeah, but you can be busy and you can be also entertained, but it doesn't mean that you will feel the energy related to passion. Passion is another beast. And okay, so how do you develop passion? Well, the only way to develop passion is to know yourself and know how to aim for specific things for you. Most people they don't have passion because they have not practiced how to develop passion. So if you don't know what you like, if you don't allow yourself to try new things, to explore new things that you're curious about, and you stick to what feel safe, or you stick to external reward because remember, it creates a dependence, and the more dependent you are, the less you want to explore because you're avoiding also disappointment. And so the more you avoid disappointment, exploration, the less you aim at specific things that are important to you, the less permission you give to yourself, passion are less accessible for you, and you will stick to boredom. So this is something that is important, to go from one spectrum to the other spectrum. So you can move, and it's something that you can actually work on. You can develop your ability to generate more passion. And to generate passion, it's kind of a sport. At the beginning, it's hard. It's a little bit like going to the gym. At the beginning, you don't feel in shape. You don't feel it's useful. It feels uncomfortable, but all this is normal, and we know it, because we know sport and we know what exercise is, getting in shape is. But what's the sport of finding a passion? It's work. And for some of you guys that feel that maybe you don't have enough fun in your life. Maybe you feel sensitive. You feel that you don't feel solid. You don't feel that you're aiming at something important for you. It is possible that you're bored. And when you are bored, you're aiming for more external validation, external reward, and extrinsic motivation. Okay, and it's more and more common because we are in an era of technology, and technology like cell phone, it's basically a machine for external reinforcement, external motivation, and introjected, sorry, motivation. So right now, especially younger generation, especially Gen Z, they are addicted to their phone. They're addicted to external reward. So the more we move on in time, the less passion people feel. And the problem is that the technology is there. It's very fast. It's very accessible. It's high speed internet. It's very addictive. Social media is very addictive, and we don't have any psychological plan on how to stay solid with our own brain, with our own psychology. So time goes by, we're still addicted, and we're looking for our next relief, next vacation, next traveling, next break. But this is just waiting for a relief. It is not a goal and is not passion. Another thing about passion is not possible to be passionate about something you're dependent on. For example, if you suffer from substance abuse and you say I'm passionate about whiskey, it's like, no, sorry. It's called a dependence. It's called not only substance abuse, but it's purely external reinforcement. It's purely dopamine. So if it's only dopamine, it is not a passion. So if you want passion, it has to have its own reward within the activity itself. That's what passion is about. And when you are, uh, tasting these kinds of feelings, and you know how to develop passion, you can develop many types of passion because the principles are the same. And so your brain becomes stronger. You know yourself better. And the more you know yourself and the more permission you give yourself to explore and try things and allow yourself to be disappointed when you try new things, well, it fuels you. You're more and more solid, and you're more able to resist to stimulation, pure dopamine stimulation or distractors. But how to resist to distraction, to the cell phone, to drugs, to social validation? The antidote is that you need to develop passion, and you need to dedicate time and effort and resources to passion. Now, some people will, just with this discussion, they will click, oh, yeah, I'm bored. Well, I'm bored. I need to do something. I look at my agenda. Like, I don't want to go through my week. I'm not aiming at something specific. I'm not exciting about something. I don't look forward something. So if you're not looking forward something, if you're not excited, probably you need to work on your passion a bit. So it's like, you have to change how your brain works by teaching your brain, okay, I need to try something different that will not give myself automatic and immediate reward. So if some people are good at trying new things, depending of your personality types, we're going to go back on a future life about personality. Some people that are more open, it's easier for them to explore new things. Some people that are less open, it's hard for them to explore new things, and they stick to what they know. It's good if you already have passion and you're already fulfilled, that's great. But if you feel bored, and if you feel that you have too much introjected or external um, motivation, and you're low on openness, it's going to be harder for you. But it's normal. It's part of your personality system, and everybody has a different. There are five personality traits. One of them is openness. Some people are less open than others. So, but it doesn't change anything. Even if you're low on openness, you still need to challenge yourself to try new things and discover what you like. Most people do not have passion. When I'm asking, like, what's your passion? What are you passionate about? There, most people uh, will see something related to an external reinforcement. For example, I'm passionate about food, restaurants, going out, traveling. These are all rewards. These are all high dopamine. This is not passion. This means, like, you are waiting for a relief. You're passionate about a relief of anxiety, of depression, feel lost, and you're aiming for entertainment so you can forget about that. This is not passion. It's like saying, like, I'm passionate about wine. What do you mean? Do you make your wine? Do you study wine? No, I drink it. Well, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't work this way. So the word passion is important because it doesn't mean everything. And to understand the type of passion, or if it's really a passion, you need to read the underlying s- um, motivational factor under it. Okay, so you can look again to the slide that I've just shown you. And so passion that creates energy, fulfillment, meaning. I didn't talk about that, but meaning is not on external motivation or introjected motivation. To feel that you're getting up in the morning for a reason, and even though it's a hard day, it's worth it. This is a meaning. Meaning is not an external motivation, and it's not an a motivation, and it's not on the internet, and it's not on social media. It's something that you do. It's a relationship you do with an activity that you need to discover. So when a client comes to me and the client will mention, for example, anxiety or problem that someone can solve. I must read between the lines. So what kind of energy is this person um, like have in her life? And a lot of people have very low energy. So if you're low in energy, you will feel more negative emotion, more anxiety. You will be more fragile. You will feel more helpless. You will feel more. You will feel less in control of what you're doing. So it's not something I'm going to say to the client directly. Like, your problem is that you're bored. Like, most of the time, we're going to go using other strategies and more specific strategies so the person can access to more energy. But since the live tonight is about boredom, boredom comes with lots of symptoms: lack of stimulation, not being excited by anything, not looking forward to something, um, not having clear goals, not exactly knowing why you would go through a hard day or this pain or this challenge. You need a reason for that, because pain and kind of a certain level of suffering is part of human condition. Okay, there's a part of it that we can't move, but the question is, do you have a reason to do that? Well, the reason must be around identified, integrated, and intrinsic motivation. And passion is around that. Also, the more passionate you are, the stronger you are, the more positive emotions you are. And it creates like an exponential effect, because when your brain knows how to be passionate, you open up a possibility, a spectrum of feeling, a spectrum of events, and the brain wants to reply it in many aspects of your life, whether it's your intimate life, whether it's your hobbies, your job, if you want to transition to do something different. You know more where to aim and where to find the strategies to go seek for this passion. Now, you cannot be passionate about everything, and you cannot eliminate all external motivation. It's absolutely normal. It's part of life. But what is important is that you feel that you have the control, okay, in your menu, in your agenda, that in this week is worthwhile because I'm looking for certain things. And some weeks are harder. It's like, no, I'm not going to get what I'm looking for this week, but the week after I'm going to get some. So it's positive, because sometimes you have to be patient when you're building something. So a passion is something that you build, and extrinsic motivation is something that just you touch and it sinks into you just in short term. So if you want to go from boredom to passion, you need to discover what you like, and you need to start doing things while being less dependent on external factors. So I hope that tonight, at least, we could put some words on the phenomenon that we call boredom. And if you recognize yourself, well, there's good news, because there are a ton of things that you can do. It's just that you will need some strategies, and you will need to um, try a few things different. And if you slowly can get out of these loops, you will feel different types of new motivation, and you will feel inspired, and you will discover what you really like, and you will discover new strength. That's another problem. When you're bored, you don't know what you're made of. A bored person doesn't know his talent, his strength, what he wants, what she wants, what she doesn't want. There's a kind of negative, kind of neutral feeling. It can be comfortable, but as time goes by, because we're not eternal, time flies. And the more time flies, the more the pressure we feel that we are still bored and it's not moving forward. When you're 15 years old and you're bored, you say, like, I have all the time in the world. When you're 25 years old, still have a lot of time. But as time goes by, the time itself create pressure. So you will have a rise of anxiety. Anxiety will increase, But if you still don't have the strategy to get out of the boredom, now it will start to be dangerous. So to have a few days where you're bored, it's not dangerous. The problem is that when you don't know that you're bored and you're still stuck on external reward, this is the danger. And we are in an age of external validation and external reward in a very, very comfortable world. And as much as we are comfortable in our modern societies, where there is more mental, psychological disorders, mental health issues, and we keep talking about mental health, about being healthy. We keep talking about well-being. Well, these are words. These are videos on YouTube. To actually do it, you need some strategy to act in real life. So that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being there. The next live, I'm going to talk about the famous now Coldplay Gate, the Coldplay event where there are two people that got busted cheating, and they were at Coldplay. So my team was like, "Hey, Guillaume, can you comment that? Do you have any comment?" And on the moment, it's like, well, too bad for them. But when I was thinking about it, it's like this is there is a way to predict if someone will cheat at work, especially at work. So there are specific factors that can predict or increase significantly the chances that you will have an affair or fall in love at work. There's a kind of a recipe for that. And so these people that were at the Coldplay concert, they were coworkers, and it's when you look at their profile, what they were doing, is very easy. It's easy to understand why. And the good news is that if we know what kind of factor that predicts cheating at work, there's also the answer on how to increase the quality of the relationship with your actual partner. So you can use it both ways. So it's going to be on August 13th, same time as now, and we're going to talk about cheating factors. So thank you so much, guys, for being there. I see you soon on the 13th. And I'm going to have a couple of other announcements, a couple of surprises next time we see each other. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye. I'm Dr. Guillaume Dulude. I'm an author, I'm a TV host, and the founder of Psychom, where I teach applied psychology to thousands of people every year. My work is about one thing: helping people understand themselves better so they can lead, connect, and grow. I hold a PhD in psychology, and I specialize in communication and leadership skills development. I've traveled over 100 countries to study how humans relate and create meaningful lives. I founded the Why event to share the psychological tools needed to face crossroads, make stronger decisions, and move towards a life that is worth fighting for.